the tech tips and tricks, and as you all can see, it's on the new Dimension 2.0 logging report server. So let's go ahead and let's dive right in. The agenda for the tech tips and tricks today is going to be, we're going to talk about dimension visibility. That's going to be the core of what we're going to be talking about and what I'm going to show you today. I am going to touch just a little bit on the Dimension command, which is a new feature that's being integrated into Dimension. I'm going to talk about some of the licensing overview, because that did change with Dimension visibility. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Dimension 2.0. We're going to look at some of the new reports and some of the features that are now are new inside Dimension 2.0. First of all, for Dimension 2.0, visibility is what we're calling it now. In order to get it installed on your computer, we do have some system requirements for it. Before I go into the system requirements, though, just want to let you guys know, for some of you that might have been the early adopters of the Dimension 2.0 visibility, is we did come out with an update to last week. It came out on August 13th, and it does address some issues, primarily with the new Windows Edge browser. So if you were an early adopter of Dimension 2.0, you probably want to go out and you want to upgrade to the newest version. Okay? Where can you find Dimension 2.0? Basically, you just go back to the WatchGuard site. You're going to go into the software download section, and you'll see Dimension listed there as a download option. When you do the download option, there will be the release notes there, and in the release notes, it gives you the instructions that you need to install Dimension either on VMware or on Hyper-V. Those are the only two supported platforms for Dimension. For VMware, it has to be ESXi version 5.x or higher, and then for Hyper-V, it can be Windows 2008 R2, 2012, or 2012 R2. Okay, so it works on both platforms. The system requirements when you install it is actually pretty low. It uses one processor and 2 gig of memory, so it's a nice, easy footprint in there. Now you'll notice that the last bullet item I have on there is a trick. If you're one of the guys on the line right now and you may be looking at these requirements and you say, hey, I want to use Dimension, but I don't have Hyper-V, I don't have VMware, well, I guess I'm out of luck. There is a little trick that you can do, and what you can do is you can download VMware Player, strictly not supported by WatchGuard, but what you can do with VMware Player is it will allow you to install the VMware version of Hyper-V, and you can run it on a desktop computer. In addition to it not being supported through WatchGuard, I don't recommend it for any long-term deployment, but if you're just looking for an evaluation to see what it can do, kick its tires a little bit before you take the plunge into either VMware or Hyper-V, VMware Player is something that can get that done for you. As far as just some bullet items for the Dimension 2.0 visibility, the appliances that are now supported to send their log messages over, they have to have a current support subscription. This is kind of a segue away from what we used to do with Dimension 1.3. All boxes could report into it, whether they had a security subscription services active on them or not. But now with Dimension 2.0, it does require an active support agreement on those boxes. Okay? There's a couple of enhancements into it. First of all, we have some new device pages on it, and it's got a new look and feel that I think everybody's going to like. We also have some new reports inside of it for bandwidth and time quotas on there. We also have some new AP device reports inside there as well. Many of you know we have WatchGuard access points, but we have a whole series of reports that go along with the access points to show the usage against them. I don't know if you're deploying our access points in municipalities, but here in the state of Florida, public libraries are required to show reports for AP activity that they have running inside of the library, something new they just added. In addition to that, we also have some health reports that are in the new Dimension. And then for those of you that were using the old Dimension, you know that we had some static IP address mapping. Well, we've put some enhancements into that and it got a lot better. So that's a real good thing there. And then we have some enhancements for device groups if you're trying to run reports over a series of different boxes. And then we have some block sites and open firewall web UI that can allow you to block a connection that you might see coming through the box. Okay, that requires you have command, but that is another feature in there. Okay. Now for the Dimension 2.0 visibility, appliances supported for the logging and reporting. Basically, the box just has to have a security subscription associated with it. If the box is running version, the box just has to be running version 11.x. So if you have older Edge series boxes that may be running on version 8 or version 10, because I've seen some people with those boxes are not going to be able to send their data into us. Another requirement is the Dimension server needs to be able to resolve services.watchguard.com. The reason that it needs to be able to do that is that the server itself has to be able to verify the support subscription against the appliance. You can see on the screen right here that if I have a box that is not licensed, what will happen is it will give me a little display and say not licensed against it. If you have older boxes, these are boxes that are prior to 11.10, you're going to need to import those feature keys into the box, and I'll show you that in the config here in just a minute. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to go into the settings, server management update. You're going to get a screen that looks like this, and you'll have to load the feature key in for your individual boxes. Okay. Well, that kind of is it for the presentation, so now let's take a look and let's dive into Dimension and see what this guy looks like. Okay. Now, before we get into Dimension, what I always like to do is I always like to take a look at the boxes, okay? So what I've got here, and let me just try to make this full screen. Hopefully everybody can see this pretty good. But what I have here is I have one of my firewalls, and it's an M400 series box, and I'm just going to right-click it, and I'm going to go to Policy Manager. Dimension is the reporting side of everything, so we can see what our boxes are doing. We can see where people are surfing to and what's going on. But before we can do that, the box itself has to be configured to send its information over to the Dimension log and report server. Here I'm inside Policy Manager, and if I click on Setup, and I go down and I click on Logging, right over here I have an option for the WatchGuard log server. And you can see right inside here I have a IP address that I'm sending the logs to, and I'm just going to hit Edit all the way down so I can see this. You'll notice that I have an IP address listed in here, and I also have an encryption key. When we send our log data over, our log data is encrypted. There's always a fear out there where people say you should never be logging from a security appliance, because if you are, that log data could be intercepted, and now a hacker has anything that they need in order to try to penetrate your network. The way we circumvent that is we use an encryption key, and this encryption key is using AES 256 encryption, which is the highest level you can use. And this makes it safe for us that you can send it over the public internet. So I can send it to a public Dimension, public IP from my Dimension server for all my remote clients to send all of their traffic into me. Okay? So that's where I have to set the logging for the individual clients. Okay? Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the Subscription Services tab. And I think most of you are familiar with all the features and all the subscriptions that our boxes can do. Spam blocker, gateway antivirus, intrusion prevention, web blocker, quarantine server, reputation-enabled defense, application control, data loss prevention, and APT blocker. If your main focus for using Dimension is just to see the visibility, which is ironically the name that we call it, of what your users are doing, the two subscription services that you're going to benefit from the most are going to be the web blocker service, which is showing you categories of websites that users are going to, and then also the application control, which is going to show you applications that users are opening and going to on the open web. Now, an example of an application control type application might be LogMeIn. Another one would be Dropbox. Another one might be Skype. Okay, there's about 1,800 different applications that people routinely use. And if we turn on application control, we can give you the visibility into what those users are doing. So if you want Dimension and you want it just for its visibility to see what the users are doing, to see what sites people are going to, the two services are going to be the web blocker and the application control. So that's what I'm going to focus on today because we're just talking about the reporting. Obviously, if you add the others in, we can get reporting on all the others as well, and I recommend you go that way. That's what I'm going to cover on those for today. Now, in order to get the log data over to the Dimension server, I have to do it with using one of my proxy policies. When I use the proxy policy, it allows me to do a deeper inspection of the traffic, and I can get better visibility of what's going on. If you look on the policy right here, I have Enable Application Control, and you can see I have an Application Control Corporate right here. And if I click this Edit button, this is where I have all those 1,800 different applications that I can identify, and then I can report on all this activity going through it. Okay. In addition to that, I also want to see what websites people are going to, and I can do that by using the web blocker. So I'm going to go into the proxy actions. Right over here is where I have my web blocker. There's my web blocker I have set right there, web blocker _ corporate. If I hit edit on this one and I come over to the categories, I can see all the different categories, and there's 130 different categories of websites that people are going to. Okay. I can go ahead and I can click on certain ones. You can see in this particular case that I clicked on the adult material to block that. And then I think further down I have one other category that I clicked on right here, which is the security section. And this is all the malicious stuff, the malicious sites that people can end up on. So typically I'll always block that one too. Very important to get full reporting against my web blocker is I want to have this checkbox checked right down here where it says log this action. When I hit log this action, it's going to make sure that I send all the allowed traffic over in addition to all of the denied traffic. Remember, most security appliances are only going to show you the denies. Well, visibility, I also want to see the allows because I want to know what people are doing. So I really need to make sure that that checkbox is checked. Okay? I'm going to back out to the policy. One last thing I need to do on the policy is if I come over to properties and I come to my logging button right here, I have allowed packets right here, send log messages. This is in conjunction with the other where I want to send all of the allowed packets through, so I'm going to get full visibility of what's going on. So I need to make sure I have send log messages for the allowed packets as well. Okay. Now I'm just showing one of the proxy policies, but I think you all can kind of put two and two together. For all of your users as they're surfing through, all of the proxy policies that they're going to be hitting, I have to increase the log level on all of those, so I'll be able to get that visibility into the Dimension log and report server. So I just want to show you that because that's kind of critical to get that going before we can really get in Dimension and take a look at it. Okay. Let me go ahead and minimize this. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to open up my Chrome, and here is my Dimension 2.0 log and report server. You're going to notice right away that the graphics has changed on it, and it made a pretty significant change between the old version and the new version. It's a nice color palette. It's a little bit busy, some people have told me, but once you get into it and you work on it a little bit, everybody seems to like it. When I log into it, I'm going to end up on my main page. On my main page, I'll see all my boxes that are reporting in, and then if I look across, I get some status information about my boxes. Under my logging column, it tells me if the boxes are logging in. Now, where it says yes right here, it means these boxes have valid support subscriptions, and I can log data to them. These other boxes that I have right down here, I have this one right here, Georgia Vascular, and then I have this FTAA box down here. These particular two boxes are offline, so they're not logging any data to me. There's another column here that says Manage. The Manage column is for Dimension Command. Little CSV over here to export it out and get this as a little report if you were looking at licensing for all your boxes or something like that. If I go across, I have a couple of other options that are new. I have a health option right here. Excuse me, it's on my throat. And if I click on health, what this is going to show me is only for my boxes that are running Dimension Command, it'll show me some additional information about them as far as their CPU, memory utilization, uptime, and the feature key date on those boxes. Okay, so that's a really nice feature, but you're only going to get that for the boxes that run commands. If I click on my licensing tab, my licensing is going to show me only my Dimension Command boxes, and it's going to show me when the security subscriptions are expiring for all of the different services that are running on the boxes. Okay, again, a really nice, easy report. Come over here, click Export to CSV, and you can have a CSV you can print out, and then you can kind of evaluate the boxes, figure out which ones need to be renewed, or maybe which ones need to be upgraded or sunsetted or anything like that. The last tab I have over here is a map button. And right here with the map, I just get a map of the United States, and my boxes are going to show up where they are geographically located. Okay, so if I zoom a little bit here in Florida, I've got a box in Tampa. And if I hover on top of it, it tells me where it's an M400. Got another box down here. This one's a 515. He's located in Key West. And then if I come and click on this one's located over in Orlando, and you can kind of see the geographic locations on them. It's going to do a geo map in order to automatically determine where these boxes are. But as you both know, sometimes a geo map isn't 100%. If I come back over to my list right here, and I select one of my boxes, and then I come down here and I hit Edit, a new feature that we added in is it gives you the ability to add a longitude and latitude in for your boxes, so I can get those bullets exactly where those boxes are, and then perhaps I can put that screen up on my monitor. Okay? The one caveat I will tell you is that when you go to your latitude and you go to your longitude, if it's a positive number, it's north and it's east. If it is a negative number, it's south and it's west. So I know some of you guys on the phone are probably ex-Navy personnel or navigators or something like that. So you say, oh yeah, I know exactly how to do that. Getting longitude and latitude is very easy. Just go to Google or something like that and Google the town longitude latitude coordinates, and you'll be able to get those real easy if you need to be able to do that. Okay. Right over here we have our settings, and I want to jump into the settings real quick to show you a couple of new things there. If I come into my settings and I go to my server management, right over here you're going to notice a couple of things are different. First thing you see right here is the Firebox feature key management. Okay. And basically right here we have a retrieve feature key option where the box will go out and retrieve the feature keys for the boxes that are currently reporting to it and apply them. And then we also have a manual update feature keys. If your boxes are running Dimension Command, all you have to do is hit the retrieve button, and then what it's going to do is it's going to go out and get the feature keys for those boxes. If they're older boxes, what you're going to have to do is get the feature keys, hit this update button right here, and then paste those feature keys in order to get those boxes reporting. Okay, so just want to show that. When I do hit this retrieve button on here, you need to make sure DNS is configured on the Dimension server because it has to be able to resolve services.watchguard.com in order to be able to do that. If I come into the configuration section right here, inside the configuration section, we have all different options across here. I'm only giving you guys the high-level stuff. But if I come over here to my visibility, this is where I can change the encryption key. We saw the encryption key on the appliance just a minute ago. The encryption key here has to match what the encryption key is on the appliance so we can receive the data in, decrypt it, and show it inside Dimension. Okay? In addition to that, I can come over here to my reporting tab. And on my reporting tab, I can also use custom report templates for my reports. I can schedule reports, and when I schedule my reports, I have the option to use a WatchGuard logo on those reports. Or what I can do is maybe if I have a customer and it's Goodwill, for example, I want the Goodwill logo to be on there. Maybe I have another customer and it's University of South Florida, USF, so I want a USF logo on there and so forth. So we can do multiple custom report templates so your customers can have their individual logos on it, or you can brand these with your corporate logo because, as you know, it's all about your corporate signage and keeping your name at the forefront with your customers. Okay. Another thing that we added with Dimension Command is the IP address mapping. The IP address mapping for us was really good. At the most basic, what we're doing is we're taking a particular IP address that I have that might be showing up inside my system, 8.8.8.8 right here, and I'm going to say wherever that shows up in my system, I'm always going to want to add the name to it of Google-public-DNS-A, so I know exactly what that IP address is. Now, on the previous version of Dimension, we had one main list, and that main list was a global list. So whatever I put in here was across all the different boxes that I had reporting. Well, if we start to get into subnets, you can have duplicate subnets across your box. What we added is we added a global device map, and we also added an individual device map, so I can map specific IP addresses to names for my specific devices. This DNS 8.8.8.8, Of course, we all know that's Google, so that would be a good example of a global. If I come over here to a device management, and I have an M400 on here, and let me do my M400, and let me try to choose him right there. Oops, hang on, he's being a little finicky for me. So we'll do M400. Let's see if we can get him to pop up in there. Okay, let me come back over here one time. That's giving me a little problem here, guys. Okay, let's try it again. And see, I'm selecting the device, but it's not showing it for me. But what it would do is when I selected that M400 series appliance, right here, maybe I need to put the 80DA. Let me try one more thing, guys. Let's try it this way. That's still not doing it for me. But what it would do is it would allow me to put in IP address mapping for individual boxes, which is kind of a feature a lot of people were asking for a very long time. Okay, so that's another new feature that was added inside the box. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back over to the home button over here. And this is where I saw all my boxes. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig in on one of the boxes and kind of show you some of the new things that have been added in. Right here, if I click on the M400, this particular box is under Dimension Command. Okay. If it's under Dimension Command, I get a little bit different. I get a little health snapshot of what the box has been doing as far as its CPU utilization, its uptime, and its memory usage. And then I even have a View Summary button over here where I can get a summary report which will show what the box has been doing over this report time from start time to end time right over here. So that's kind of really, really nice. And then I can, of course, hit the Adobe Acrobat and get a very simple report to be able to turn over to a customer. Okay. In addition to that, if it's under Dimension Command, if I click on Actions, I have the option to open the configuration in the web UI. I can even reboot the appliance, and I can update the feature key against it. Okay, so really nice feature right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down to the Executive Dashboard, and the Executive Dashboard is where I can see basically the 10,000-foot view of what's been happening on this box. I'll be able to see my top clients that I've been having running through it, my top domains, my top URLs, my top destinations. If I scroll down a little bit more, my top applications, my top application categories, and then if I get down a little farther, my top protocols. If you look at this, and if you have Dimension running right now, some of you may only have 2 categories on here. Some might only have 3 categories on here. If you only have 2 or you only have 3, your box is not configured for full logging and reporting. You can get a hold of me, shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to help you with that offline. Just a couple extra checkboxes we have to check to send all that allowed traffic over. Okay. One of the other features that we added inside the box, if I click on View All, what I can do is it will sort that entire section on my top clients, so I'll be able to see all the top clients that I have running through the box. If the box is on Dimension Command and I see something coming through here like free Wi-Fi user, I can click free Wi-Fi user, and then I have an option to either filter on that free Wi-Fi user to see what they're doing, or what I can do is I can do add to the block sites list and automatically block that user from any further internet traffic. So that's new with Dimension Command. Okay. Okay. I'm going to come back over to my Executive Dashboard view and kind of look at all these different people on here. Harrison is me right up here, and I can see me. I've got 1 gig in there, so I've been busy today getting ready for the presentation. Of course, I can filter on Harrison right there, and when I filter on Harrison, it's going to show me everything that Harrison's been doing. I'm going to Buick.com, Concur, Google Video, and so on, looking at military site vehicles and so on. So I think all of you have seen that. We also have the Security Dashboard, which is still there. It's showing me all the blocks on it. We also have the Threat Map, which is showing where your traffic has been going around the world. Now, if you had deployed the original Dimension 2.0, there was a bug in that. And what it was doing is if I clicked on one of my countries right here, like China, and if I found a country on here like Nanjing, and I clicked on Nanjing, what was happening is I would get my blocks right here, but it was not resolving the map up here. So that's the reason that you're going to want to upgrade yourself to the newest version of Dimension. We also have the Firewatch utility. Firewatch utility has been very popular with everybody. It's a very quick way to look at your internet pipe, your internet traffic, and determine who's using all that traffic. As you can see right here, Harrison at opening page, that's me. has been using all the traffic, and I can continue to filter on them. In Dimension 2.0, you kind of notice the colors got a little more snappy, so it's a little more eye-pleasing. I can see it based on destinations and domains. I can see it based on application, and I can see it based on web audit. Okay, you get application control and you get web blocker configured on the box. That's going to give you your best reporting, and these two tabs are really going to tell you what people are doing and what's been going on. Protocols is out there at the end. Of course, that's very, very important. If you saw a spike of FTP traffic or something like that, that might make a red flag that malware might be operating inside your network and doing something. Policy map was still in the old, but here in the new as well. Got a little cleaner, got a little bit better, but the policy map is a good auditing tool to kind of show you how your traffic is moving through the network. Right over here, I can see where the traffic is starting from, what portion of the network. I can see what policy it went through. I can see its disposition, whether it was allowed or it was denied, and its outbound interface where that traffic was going to. So if I was trying to audit this box, I might look at my denies, and I can see the flow of my denied traffic and where it's been coming from. Might give me some red flags in some places that I need to look. Right over here under my policy audit, I can also come down here and I can choose other different areas of how I can filter the traffic. If I choose my application control traffic, what it will do is it will show me how my traffic has been traversing the network. Now here, all of this is allowed traffic, okay? So that's fine, and maybe that's what I normally see. But if I look at my outbound interfaces over here, I see that I have a ETH0 TW Telecom 100 meg right there. And then down here at the bottom, I have an ETH7 Verizon 10 meg right there down at the bottom, okay? So let me mean to hit that right there. Well, if I hover on top of it, what it's going to do, it's going to light up, and it's actually very light traffic coming through here. But it's actually showing me I had some traffic hitting that interface. That could be an isolated private network that I don't want anybody ever to access. But here I can track that somebody has been trying to access it, and now what I can do is kind of start the manhunt, so to speak, to find out where it is. One of the new reports that's inside the box is the AP devices, and this is kind of a really cool report if you're running the WatchGuard access points. It's going to show me the number of clients over here, and it's only 5 because it's running in my home. But I can see this across by clients. I can see it by bytes. I can also come over here and I can see it across all AP devices, all SSIDs, and even all brands of different devices that I might have on it. So it's all going to come across there at 5. Okay? The log manager is still there, a little bit enhanced, a little bit quicker searches when you're searching for your log data, but it's all there as well. If I come over to my reports tab and expand this out, this is going to show me all the canned reports that we have inside the system. Okay, I have my most active clients up here at the top. If I click on that, of course, there's Harrison #1 here at the top. There he is right there. I can see his authenticated user and his host was the same name. So if I click on Harrison right here, now I can get, excuse me, a per user report for Harrison. I can run reports based on a username, based on his IP address, and even based on the host name that was running on his computer. Okay, so here he is. Right here is web activity trends, his most popular domains. If I scroll down a little farther, here's his applications that he's been going to. He's been using some Chrome. Oh, he's been on YouTube. He's been on Install Anywhere. I'm not sure about that one. He's also been doing some Twitter and some Adobe Flash. If I scroll down a little farther, look what I have right down here. I have a web audit by category, and I really love this pie chart. What I always tell people is that a pie chart is so simple, a 5th grader can read it. So dispersing this around to our managers and everybody else is very easy to understand what this user was doing for this period of time. It looks like 49% of his time he was on advertisements. Then he was on some health sites, okay, maybe trying to get healthy there. Then I was on a military site, looks like, and did some education and some other things right there. So really nice and easy to see. If I come back over here, come back into reports again, expand this out again. If I scroll down here, I'll start to see some of the other reports we have. We have the application usage, which is normal. And then we have some SMTP proxy reports on there. And I want to scroll down a little bit farther because I'm looking for one of the newer ones to show you. I have the detailed reports on the alarms and so forth. And here's my AP device events that I might have running on my APs. Give it a second right there. And it looks like I had an AP go down and come back online. I'm in Florida, lightning capital of the world, and we did have some lightning strikes yesterday, so I'm sure that's what that is from. I have some compliancy reports inside here as well. So if you're trying to run, if you have HIPAA requirements, we have the HIPAA report that you can run. We also have a PCI compliance report that you can run as well. These do not mean that you are HIPAA or PCI compliant, but these reports are the things that you should be looking at inside of your organization. For the PCI, we need to be looking for malware, viruses, audit trails and changes, more advanced malware, intrusion prevention attacks, and even alarms that have been triggered inside the box. And there was a blocked telnet proxy that got triggered there. Okay. To come over to the health, here's the new health reports that we have. You kind of saw this a minute ago. But what this is going to do is a nice little report, gives me the memory utilization, CPU utilization, and it can give it to me over a time range. And then what I do is I list out the physical interfaces, and I can list out the throughput as far as the uploads of the sense and the received traffic that's running through them. All of these, I just click on my Adobe Acrobat icon right here. And if I click on my Adobe Acrobat icon, it's misbehaving for me. What it will do is it'll generate a little report for me. Okay. I also have usage summary reports, which are new for us. And with usage summary reports, it's kind of showing me the usage of the box based on its memory and CPU over a period of time. It's a little more detailed there. And then we have the interface summary report as well. And I really like this one because in a lot of cases, excuse me, clear my throat. In a lot of cases, people look at the different interfaces and they want to know which interface is really getting hammered. What I can do here is I can just hit my down arrow and say, okay, well I have a Wi-Fi interface, so I can look at what the traffic is on my Wi-Fi interface. Or maybe I have my public internet, well my traffic's going to my public internet, I can look at that one. Or maybe I have a specific system that's plugged into the network, an Intel NUC system, and it's plugged in on a specific interface, so I can see how that bandwidth has been spiking and going up and down throughout the day. That's another one, new one in there. And then if I come under my AP devices, the AP device reports, I can see my average clients over my different access points that I have, and I have an AP, whoops, sorry about that. I have an AP 100 and an AP 200 on here. If I click over, I can see it based on max clients. I can see it on average transmit rates. I can even see it on maximum rates of all the traffic that's moving through. If I click on AP device usage is going to show me my client counts that are coming through. And so I can see it based on clients or based on bytes. And I can see it based on the particular access point that's reporting. Also for my SSIDs, I can come over here and I can look at my different SSIDs. I have a Corp, a free Wi-Fi, and a WG guest report on here. And I can see it based on clients and based on bytes as well. It's always good now, especially with the mass adoption of wireless inside the organization, to be able to run reports against the wireless, because we want to know who's connecting on it. And then we can decide if we need to tighten up our security posture any more than we might have to. Okay? I'm going to hit expand all here one more time. I'm going to kind of take a look through here and make sure that we've covered everything. One thing I am going to do, this report is going to take a minute to run, but I'm going to move this back to my farthest range and then move it up to now, and I'm going to let this report run real quick. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to show you a data loss prevention report. I'm going to click on that, and we'll see how long that'll take. I have this running on some solid-state drives, so hopefully it won't take too long. But DLP is a data loss prevention. The firewall is the egress point for all the traffic in your networks, what people have to go through in order to get to the internet. If we have DLP, data loss prevention, running inside of the box, what that's going to do is that will help us determine if people are sending maybe credit card information or other type of information out to firewall. Here, finally finished for me. What I can see on this is I can see that I had somebody push some credit card, try to push some credit card and bank routing information through the firewall. So I have a report here that shows me that. If I come over here and I click on my View Details report, it's going to give me a little bit of a detailed report here, and should give me a little more information here. We'll give that a second to load, and it'll tell me a little bit more about this particular trigger. So in many cases, a lot of companies say we should not be sending credit card information out to the open internet, but they really don't have a way to police it or even a way to monitor it. So the Dimension Log and Report Server is going to be able to do that. What's so powerful about this, it tells me the rule right here, and it's a little squished inside there, guys. Sorry about that. But it tells me the rule right here, the bank routing information, the credit card information. But look, it's the user, administrator@openingpage.com. And it even tells me the source IP that it was coming from, which was DC01. Obviously, that was a domain controller. It tells me the destination IP that it was going to, the protocol that it went on, and then it even tells me the policy that it used in the system, and then violations is basically the hit count for it. So another really cool report that hopefully you guys can utilize. DLP, data loss prevention, is not included in the normal security suite. It's an additional a la carte service that has to be added onto the boxes, but we're seeing a tremendous attach rate on that right now. All right, well, I'm looking at the clock, Tom, and I think I've kind of come to the end of my time. So, Tom, if you're there, I'm going to turn it back your way.